Do not take product if you are hypersensitive.
Oh, hey, Internet. And welcome back to the Intoxicated Podcast. If you are a new listener, this is a drinking podcast with some heart. Think of it like a podcast variety show. I invite friends on from various walks of life, and we sit down and have a drink and talk about it. This week's episode was a lot of fun. My friend Ed stopped by for the podcast over the Christmas break, and we drank some Apple Crown Royal, and it was absolutely delightful. Got a little day drunk with Ed. And this episode was a lot of fun because it did take on kind of a storytelling approach, which was amazing. So Ed and I actually didn't even really know each other that well before recording. I had only hung out with him one other time, and so it was really cool to sit down and get to know him more. So Ed spent a chunk of his life working at a sex store. So he had some interesting stories to tell all about working at the sex store and actually stopping shoplifters. So if you're curious about what people steal from sex shops, keep listening because you will enjoy this episode. It's really, really funny, really entertaining, and we do go off on a lot of tangents, but they're good tangents. Talked a bit about online dating and different moments that kind of shaped Ed's life. We also talked about creativity and sexuality and the importance of a sex-positive environment to sort of feel safe in who you are. So it's really, really, really cool. Also, did you know vaginal beads are a thing? Because I sure didn't until I talked to Ed. So Ed has seen some stuff. I mean, you know an episode is epic when you actually pull up YouPorn during it. So that's all I'll say. It was a really fun, whiskey-induced talk with Ed. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode because I had a lot of fun with it. If you're a returning listener, you obviously know by now about Intoxicated Reviews, but if you are new to the show, make sure to go over to iTunes or wherever you find podcasts and look up Intoxicated Reviews. This is another channel we have that's dedicated to TV and movies, and it is hosted by my friend Corey. He covers both 80s and 90s movies, as well as current movies and TV, and he has a lot of stand-up comedians on. So actually this week, we did see the return of Peter White. Peter White is back on the podcast with Corey, so go over and check that out on Intoxicated Reviews. You won't regret it. Give us a follow and a like on social media. That would be on Facebook and Instagram at Intoxicated Podcast, on Twitter at @in_toxicated, and feel free to send in any questions or feedback for us to our email. That is intoxicatedpodcast@gmail.com. If you like what you hear and if you've been enjoying the show, we would really love it if you did leave us a iTunes review. I guess it's now called Apple Podcasts, but I kind of interchange iTunes and Apple Podcasts. A rating or a review on iTunes would actually go a long way for us. So if you enjoy what you hear, we would love it if you did that for us. We would appreciate it a lot. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this storytime episode with Ed.
Oh, hello.
Luke. You have Darth.
Yeah.
I call this one Darth, and this one is the Stormtrooper. So there you go.
Crushing darts and breaking hearts.
Oh my goodness. Well, shall we get into it then?
Yes.
Okay, guys. Welcome back to the Intoxicated Podcast. This is Sarah. And today, I'm here with my friend Ed.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you.
We're only like 2 glasses in of some whiskey.
Yeah.
We are drinking. So I asked Ed what he wanted to drink, and you said CrApple, and I was very confused. And I said, what the heck is that? And you said it was Crown Royal Apple. So this is like apple flavored whiskey, essentially, right?
It's magical.
It is magical. And I love it, for the record.
Glad I could introduce you to this.
This is my 3rd time drinking whiskey on the show. First time was just straight bourbon. Second time was old fashions made with bourbon.
Oh, God, I love old fashions.
I liked them too, but everyone was like, they're going to be so sweet. They're going to be so sweet. And I was like, this literally just tastes like whiskey to me. I don't know, maybe we made them wrong or something. Like, it just literally tasted like whiskey.
So they did the simple syrup thing.
We didn't use simple syrup. We used water and sugar.
Okay. It's always a good idea to, like...
do the simple syrup? Well, there are so many different recipes for it.
Even though, like, it's funny you say water and sugar, and I'm like... boil the water and sugar, dude. And so I don't know. I don't know if
syrup.
I'm just making the stupidest fucking argument.
No.
But I'm pretty sure there's something maybe not chemically, but at least physically, where the molecules are all like.
They do the things. Yeah.
People can't see the hand gestures
No.
I'm making, but
they can't. It was just a mishmash of.
Yeah, can you fucking see that? I think there's something that happens, and my partner actually makes the most incredible old fashions next to a bar in Banff. Add some liquid smoke.
Okay, so yeah, because we did everything else. Like we had bitters, we had sugar, we had orange peel and cherries, and I even added a splash of club soda because I wanted to. And like I said, there were so many recipes that I saw, but regardless, my friends did not let me water it down. They were like, "This is what it is," and I was like, "Okay." And I drank it, and I was like, "Literally, this just tastes like whiskey to me. It doesn't taste like." I don't know. It was good. I'm warming up, but this is my favorite whiskey that I've had thus far. So thank you for suggesting this.
I will say, next time you make an old fashioned, put some liquid smoke in it.
Liquid smoke.
Like a little one drop in a simple syrup, and it just gives it a smoky, makes you feel like you're drinking around a campfire. It's fucking magical.
Damn, that's
yeah.
Fill up your glass, sir.
Okay.
Ed's not driving, so I'm being very kind. I'm just like, fill it up. So let's do a cheers. We always start the show with a cheers, and we get the sound of the cheers. Yeah, and it's bad luck if you don't drink it after a cheers. It's so good.
Yeah. It's also bad luck if you don't spill it into the other person's glass on the off chance that they've poisoned you.
Jesus Christ.
But I'll trust you for now.
I will not poison my guests. I need that content.
Okay.
So me and Ed actually met on a video shoot.
Yes.
And which is crazy because I look back and I was like, that was so much fucking fun. So you did a video shoot for two friends of mine who are in a band. Mm-hmm. And I've always wanted to be in a music video. Like, one of the most... That was a really funny so I kind of lived out like a dream in a small way doing that. Because when I was growing up, I watched the music video Always by Bon Jovi. And yeah, he's like, laugh away, don't care. Yeah. But that brunette in that video, I was like, I want to be her, and I want to be in a music video. I don't want to be an actress. I just want to be in a music video. I guess that involves acting in some way.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Look, I'm pretty sure that Rosanna video launched Patricia. Wow. I think I just drank myself into a speech impediment.
Roseanne?
Yeah, Rosanna by Toto.
Oh, okay. But it was like the video that like put the song like it was an iconic music video. But that's Always to me. Always is an iconic music video in my mind. I always
have to giggle a bit when I hear Bon Jovi. Just the name, because I have a dear friend that. And he's sort of conceptualized a Bon Jovi cover band, but it would be solely on banjo, and it would clearly be Bon Jovi. And I just pray that someday that happens.
You'd have at least one person downloading that, and that would be me.
Least one.
It's a guilty fucking pleasure.
Yeah.
It's my karaoke song.
Yeah.
Always by Bon Jovi is like my go-to karaoke song.
How does that one go over?
It's an interesting choice. Usually not well, but my rule with karaoke is that you don't have to sing well, you just have to sing loud.
Sorry, did I hit the bell at the wrong time?
No.
Excited.
You can hit the bell whenever.
Okay.
The bell is, don't overdo it. There was definitely one episode that I was like, ding, 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 like almost too much, but no, you fucking hit that bell whenever you want.
Okay, thank you.
So Ed and I actually, we haven't hung out that much, but we just had a big old powwow before the mics turned on. Yeah. But when I told you to come on, or you actually reached out to me and wanted to come on, I didn't even bug you.
I saw your Facebook post. I was like, that sounds fun as fuck.
It's a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. And so we don't know each other that well, so I actually asked you, via Facebook chat, just an hour ago. I was like, what are we going to talk about? Because, like, we could just sit down and, like, get to know each other and talk. But I was like, give me some topics. Give me some juicy topics. You gave me some topics.
Yeah.
So,
once you said juicy, I'm like, okay, that's...
you said sex parties, working at a porn store.
That's what started my whole life, really.
Really?
Yes.
So maybe we should start there.
Probably.
So you worked at a porn... Okay, so but you're from the States, right?
Yes. Yeah, I'm from the most inbred, redneck, backwoods state in America.
Where are you from?
I'll just leave that up to the listeners to discover.
No. How long were you there?
I was only there for about 6 years.
Okay.
Thankfully, like, I moved away as a child. Otherwise, I would, have to be at war right now.
Oh, no.
That's what my people do. We either work in coal mines or we go to war. And because there are no more coal mines, because, who the fuck likes coal? Nobody.
No one. Not the one.
Except for Donald Trump, apparently. But, fuck that guy.
Fuck that guy. Good. I was like, when you said you were American, I was like, I'm 95% sure you're not a Trump supporter, but, like, there's always that 5% chance that, like, you might sit down and be like, I love that guy.
Listen, Sarah, we're going to talk about guns. Jesus.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
And I mean, no. I try not to get political because I'm like, I'm just going to open a can of fucking worms.
Yeah.
But anyways, the point is that you moved to the land of the free. You moved to Canada.
Yeah.
And you've been here
almost my life.
Yeah. So I don't even think that really...
The important parts of my life.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that, like, carried over from America was I still really like guns. Like, really.
I mean, you're a guy.
Like, it's
Guys.
like, I feel like I carried a bit of the amosexual with me.
Okay.
Because,
interesting.
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
That's how I would describe it. Like,
amosexual?
I've definitely heard that term bandied about, and I feel like it legitimately describes why people really like guns, because, like, for one, on a scientific basis, like, firing a gun triggers the same sort of hormonal responses as, your first kiss.
It's like a release.
Yeah, it's yeah, like it's.
But you just do it at shooting ranges and stuff, right?
Yeah, like I
I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, we'll see how this fucking interview goes.
Oh my god! I was like, there's always an aspect of, like, talking to someone new where it's like, are they gonna jive with my sense of humor?
Yeah.
And you're good.
Yes. Yeah.
Start the shit. I like
clearly.
it. I like it.
Oh my god. But I feel like it's because it's a nation of about 40% amosexuals, and they are, because they had the enshrinement in the Constitution.
Yeah.
It's really too bad Jefferson and Washington weren't like, just let anyone get married to anyone, and actually, like, I mean, technically they did kind of put in provisions for, personal freedom to just be great, but the amosexuals won, and it's like, let's be honest, a large portion of the population, congratulations on your 6-year singleversary, but you have to.
I love that you threw that in the midst of all of this.
You have to admit, being, like, on Tinder, and that the vast majority of dudes are just pathetic human beings.
That was, like, almost a half angry hit.
Yes, yeah. Like, I love how you muted that with rage.
You're so correct. And I've started doing something good, though. I've started coming across dudes with just the worst pictures. Like, there was a guy, and dear God, sorry for listening, because it is in my Tinder profile that I have a podcast, but his picture was his shirt over his head with his chubby chest sticking out. That was his only picture. And I was like, you know what? Rather than swiping left and just bitching about this, I'm going to swipe right and send him a message and do a good deed. And I said, Greg, dear Greg, I'm sure you have nicer pictures of yourself, even just halfway decent pictures. put anything else up than that, because no girl is going to see that and go, I want that. Or even look at it and be like, ooh, this is a guy I want to get to know.
Yeah.
Like, and I feel
like there was probably no bio attached to it.
Not really.
Okay, yeah.
There rarely is.
Yeah.
And the guys that do write a lot, it's always the same thing. It's, I like to go to the gym, and I'm up for new experiences, or like,
I'm looking for a partner in crime.
Yeah, it's all the same, and but the picture choices are like, that's the thing. I'm like, these might be decent guys, but they are not presenting themselves correctly at all. And I don't think I was a bitch about it. I think I sent a really good critical message, and I was just like, literally the only reason I swiped on you is to tell you this. Aww. So sorry.
But at the same time, I'm really kind of fascinated about this.
Yeah, because
how did Greg respond? Because shots to the ego are more painful than a shot to the balls for most people that aren't ready or able to handle rejection. Because my first message was like, why did you pick that picture? And he just responded with like, oh, you know, like I was just goofing around, I just thought it was funny, and I'm not big on pictures. I know like girls, like they take 1,000 pictures, but like I don't have 1,000 pictures. And I was like, yeah, but do you have like any other pictures? And then he actually edited his profile in that moment and added like 2 pictures like where it actually showed his face, and I was like, that's great, just delete that other one now. Like, you still kept that other one in there, just delete it. And he was actually like, he was fairly receptive, but like when I kept going with it and just being like, yeah man, like you're not making it easy for us. Like you could be a great guy, but based on that picture, you look like a fucking douchebag. Like, and I didn't sugarcoat it. And I was like, literally, like, I just really hope this helps you, and I hope this gives you better results. And he was just like, yeah, okay. And he just kind of shut it down, then unmatched me. Oh, no.
But I've started doing that recently, because I'm just like, I don't know if men know. Like, they might just think, like, oh, this is going to get a reaction, or this is going to get them talking to me. And it's like, yeah, my Wonder Woman on a snowbank picture gets men talking to me, but all I get is like, ooh, Wonder Woman. I'm wearing a Wonder Woman shirt right now. Fuck!
I'm starting to notice a trend here.
They see that
I like that picture.
Exactly, but they see the Wonder Woman costume, and they expect me they think I dress up like her all the fucking time, and I'm like, no, I do it like every now and then.
It's a little fetishy.
So I've removed any cosplay picture, because I'm like, this is unfair to me, because it's making me seem like a cosplayer when I just dress up for Halloween. Yeah, fair enough. So yeah, but Tinder's fucking terrible. No. You're not on it? You have a partner, right?
Yes. Yeah. Wait. I'm gonna jump back to this in a sec, though, because we were on amosexuals.
Oh my god, let's go back to amosexuals. Fucking yeah, I just deviated so hard. I just wanted my chance to rant about Greg. Yeah. I've been holding it in.
Yeah. Greg, if you're out there, bud, good on you for changing.
I hope you're doing well. I hope you got more matches. I really do. What if he like found his soulmate because of me?
That'd be amazing. Like if just like a week or two after that fact, he just he matches with someone, and he thought she was pretty cute, and they start chatting. She's like, you just weren't like all the other guys. It just wasn't a pic of your abs. And he's like, thank you.
And it's all
and
thanks
then
to
like
me.
somewhere like whispered into the wind, like,
thank you, Sarah. Well, that's the thing. I'm like, what other women are doing this? I don't know. We bitch about men online all the time. And I've been known to post a screenshot every now and then, which people don't seem to approve of. Some people don't like that. They're like, that's really rude of you. And I'm like, no, if you're talking to me, if you're disrespecting me on Tinder, I'm calling you the fuck out.
Yeah, and it's that I think is one of the, like, jumping back to America, the homosexual, that is ultimately, I'm glad we at least don't have the culture of violence sewn into it here in Canada.
No, yeah.
Because, I mean, I feel like being a girl on Tinder in the States, if you had your Instagram linked, would just be even fucking way more terrifying.
100%.
Because, like, the vast majority of dudes are very pathetic human beings that have a horrendous problem with rejection and personal insecurity, and every sort of ounce of their being then gets tied up in building up the masculinity in the form that it's sold to them.
Yes.
Not in terms of, because it's funny to say, but we did a comedy show in Halifax once. That I think was very positively received because, and I mean, the term toxic masculinity is banded around a lot. Banded?
Been around?
Banded? There's a proper term there, but like for 4 drinks deep has been banded around a lot because it's very, very appropriate to, because like that sums up a lot of America. But at the same time, I feel like ours was very positively received because it was, for one, it was a show called the Dickholes, and for 2, it was very sex positive, and very sexy. And
it was called the Dickholes?
The Dickholes. And overall, it just had a message of unity, which was, we all come from a dickhole. Each and every one.
You're right.
And it's like, I feel like it's funny because it was, while it was, like the characters that were portrayed on the stage was the quintessential most pathetic human in the history of ever, Ron from New Glasgow. Likes to go to Tim Hortons. Give him a call sometime.
Ron.
TT, who was the most masculine of them all. And then Vinnie Maple that just couldn't understand why he wasn't the center of someone's universe yet.
Right. I love it. Oh, I wish I had seen this.
And it's funny because, 7 years after the fact, still get messages about it. Still, like,
you need to do it again.
We probably never will. We did 2. There was definitely a lot of weed involved, but I mean, a lot of it was done exactly 1 year apart, on 2 years for astrological reasons, exactly 1 year apart.
Astrological reasons?
Yes. None of us are into astrology, but we had a really awesome neighbor who was an astrologer, 2 awesome neighbors who were astrologers, and they kind of threw out these particular dates, and then after a lot of marijuana and an epic life-changing trip to Peru,
Jesus,
things sort of fell in line to create 2 of these shows and to kind of explore the id.
Interesting.
Id.
Yeah. Yep.
And the sort of sex positive elements of masculinity in a really comedic, and wicked musically form.
So was this a live show?
Yeah. So it was just done 2 years in a row at the Seahorse. Like the owner there is just is arguably the most important person in the music scene here in Halifax, because all of his clubs have brought about the greatest music that has come out of this place.
So true. So fucking true.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's for what is such a seemingly offensive show on the surface I feel like South Park has guided my morality and presentation of comedy my entire life, whereas you can offend, you can be awful, you can be a selfish human being, and it at the same time it's like, yes, you can do all those things, but you have to have a very straight moral center and be true to yourself. And ultimately, it's kind of one of those things, like, there's a great Reggie Watts song called, a song about apples.
Okay.
Apple! Yeah.
Apple whiskey.
which which probably summarizes quite well my entire philosophy on existence. But
damn, I'm gonna have to look
ultimately, yes, you gotta watch that. It's incredible. But ultimately, you kind of need to do what makes you happy.
Yes.
In order to live a happy and a fulfilling life. Otherwise, you're just sort of trying to, cram yourself into roles that
don't work. Totally true.
As long as that isn't infringing upon other people, then you get, ultimately was probably, call me, granted, every nation has a constitution, but because I'm American, I think ours is the best. But ultimately, the founding documents, and the founding documents of a nation and especially America, and I say especially because they're the only ones I know. But it's, I have a lot of respect for the people that built a nation, and if you really, we're going to go so far off base here for 1 second.
You're on the right show.
But,
off base.
Hell my fuck. The Smithsonian has online actual captures of the Jefferson Bible.
Oh, crazy.
Have you heard of this?
No.
Okay, so the Bible is just fucking a pile of shit. However, Thomas Jefferson, one of the, founding fathers of America and third president, went through the King James Version with a fucking razor, cut the whole thing down to 170 pages, and just cut out all the Old Testament garbage and cut out everything except for the history and moral teachings of Jesus.
Right.
The whole Bible, once he was done with it, was 170 pages.
I could even read that.
I know, I sat down in an hour and a half and read the whole Jefferson Bible. I was like, this is actually, it's kind of, you get that, it's so cool kind of seeing the beginnings of philosophies where, it's like reading, the Iliad, where the form of the story came from.
Right.
It's only a few thousand years ago, which is a drop in the bucket of how long we've been human and how long the universe has been around for. But it's really phenomenal, taking something like, the Iliad, the form of the story, the hero, or the Jefferson Bible, which 170 pages, and it's just it was kind of cut down to essentially Jesus was a kid, Jesus was born to two poor parents in a shit in a fucking barn.
Yeah.
And then it's 6 years later, Jesus was a smart kid that to go to the local temples and was just known as this kid that just fucking asked questions until the philosophers was go away, Jesus.
Fuck off.
They just but they loved him, but he would just sit there and why? These great philosophers for hours and hours and hours and for days, and then it's a little while later he's a social anti-capitalist organizer who had all these followers that
right.
Oh, it's
that's crazy.
It's really cool, but fucking hell.
That seemed to have changed your life.
I guess so. Yeah, that and reading what was the Bhagavad Gita.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, I know we're so off base right now.
That's okay.
But
off base is fine.
Good.
That like I said, this is a tangent-y show.
That's why Jesus created editing.
Yep. No, just.
But yeah.
What's this book?
Oh, the Bhagavad Gita is one of the pillars of Hindu spirituality.
Oh, okay, cool.
And it's it was the legendary quote when Robert Oppenheimer set off the first nuclear explosion at Los Alamos. he, being the fucking genius that he was, just did a direct translation from Sanskrit in his head, and a reporter happened to hear him just mumble the words, I am become death, destroyer of worlds.
Damn. Jesus Christ.
It's like this crazy fucking spiritual journey of, this General Arjuna is sent out to destroy, is sent into battle, and he wants to, right before the battle, he wants to go to the center of the battlefield and look at the faces of all the people he's about to kill.
Wow.
And just as he gets there, he just breaks down, just completely mentally breaks down, because he does not want to do this. But it turns out that his chariot driver reveals himself as God, and like the whole he has a conversation with God in the middle of a battlefield. And has this epic poem, and it's just
damn. I want to. That's crazy.
Yeah, like
interesting.
Yeah, chat and
I'll have to check that out. Can you find it on Google?
Oh yeah. And sorry.
I'm such a millennial, kind of.
Yeah,
sort of.
Jesus.
I'm not really though.
Yeah,
I'm not technically.
Just downloaded your fucking Kindle,
right? I actually don't have one.
Well,
I only have a phone and a computer.
Sorry, I'm only here to plug Amazon products. Because marketing is ruining everything.
Amazon, sponsor us.
Yeah. Okay, so...
Porn. Shop.
Porn.
Let's go from that to how you worked in a porn shop.
Talking with God, too. Okay, porn store.
Porn store. Was that one of your first jobs?
Yes.
Oh my God.
That was the last job I had before I started my career.
Right.
My college
education. And it's on your resume and everything?
Sadly I took it off after about 3 years, because I got a really good reference from there. It's funny, I worked there for a month and a half and got employee of the month.
What the heck did you do?
Yeah. So, I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm American and just, turbo aggressive when it's really uncalled for.
When you're giving recommendations.
No, it wasn't so much about this. Nothing to do with sex. Because, it's like, if you're aggressive when it comes to sex stuff, unless it's super consensual, then you're just a fucking ass. However.
It's very true.
Awake from your meditation. But no, I just I would chase down shoplifters, and I'm glad I did, because I got like one of the best stories of my life out of it.
Tell it.
So okay.
He's getting in. You need more. Do you want? Here, I'll get you more.
Oh yeah, more ice. There we go.
This one needs. You need a refill for the story.
We're tucking in, Sarah.
Yeah.
All right. So
please tell me if you don't want to drink anymore, because otherwise I'll just be like, drink.
Yeah, I'll tell you to go fuck yourself. Yeah, sorry. Be nice to the host.
I'm keeping that in.
Okay, so yeah, I was hired there because a theater friend of mine was working there, knew that I needed a job during my college times. It was flexible hours, and knew that I was a perv.
Nice.
But so I applied. The manager, awesome dude, love him still to this day. But got hired, and it was such an interesting job.
You don't
for
say.
A number of reasons. For one, it was it wasn't just porn. It was porn and dildos,
sex
and
toys,
lingerie and sex toys, and just sort of everything sex related. And that was pretty exciting for a little while. But it also at the same time. According to my girlfriend at the time, it was a bit of a libido killer, because the fetish section was like there were certain. Okay, I have this theory that if you lost a world war, you need to get revenge on the world somehow, and you're going to do that with your porn.
God.
So, like, the German and the Japanese have gone on to create the most demented porn in the history of the world.
Damn.
And so, I mean, I count myself as a person with a pretty high sex drive, but it's like sometimes, like, after work when you've been, like, restocking the German section of like, and you just, like, anything, like, any even thought about it.
I feel like you're going through PTSD right now.
A little bit, because, like, some of the shit you see...
You can't unsee.
You just can't unsee.
And then you can't get horny because you're like, this is so fucked.
It's like, and I remember at one point I was like, I asked my coworker who worked there, I was like, what's the difference between a kink and a fetish?
It's a good question.
Which is I didn't realize how profound that question was at one point. And it's a very, very kind of blurry lines, and the two are often used interchangeably.
They are, yeah.
But his sort of explanation was, typically a kink involves some sort of external object or action, whereas a fetish involves some sort of modification of the body itself.
Okay.
So you get something like when you've, just restocked fucking monster fots and monster clits and in the German fucking section for, half an hour, and you're there looking at DVDs with, of like vaginas and clits that have just been attacked by shop vacs.
Oh my god.
And you just, you're getting a little fucking irpy.
Damn.
And yeah, it's like, once you go home from that for a bit, it's just like...
you need a decompression time.
Yeah, it's like, I love you, just like, let me get super baked and just like...
Forget what I saw today.
Just burn this out of my memory.
That's fucked.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's how the German and the Japanese have gotten back at us. But, and, whatever, good on them, they won.
You do you, boo-boo.
Yeah.
But just, we don't want to see it.
Yeah, but apparently people do. I mean, like, there was, that is a tough job to keep a straight face in.
I was going to say, because you must
Holy
get
shit.
odd requests. Or,
oh, yeah.
But what I love about a porn star is like, there's no shame.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, even if you saw...
Actually, sorry, I would disagree with you. There's a lot of shame.
Well, it's...
I mean, we're all kind of shamed as we're growing up about our sexuality in a lot of ways.
That's very true. That's very true.
And I guess the interesting thing was the people that typically have no shame are the ones you really wish had shame.
That's true.
Yeah, because, like, and... I was a really great dildo salesman. For one reason.
Quote
yeah. Like, I mean...
What was it? Oh, yeah. Why were you a good dildo salesman?
Well, because for one, the people in there buying a dildo, there's a number of, like, a lot of women would, be coming in, and what you hear 99% of the time is, I'm buying it for a friend. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, right.
And so you play into that.
It's my friend's bachelorette party. Yeah, I'm buying her a gift.
And oftentimes it's people, like, hilariously enough, in retrospect, I sort of regret this because I've probably made it, like, really difficult for a lot of boyfriends in the local area. Because one of the easiest and best sells was this pink plastic, very simple vibrator called the Silencer.
Oh my
And so,
God.
Like, well, so it's for your friend, your roommate. Oh, okay. So, when they would say roommate, like, And it's like, okay, so they're trying to fuck themselves in a place that is very thin walls, probably, or a dorm or something like that. Because, typically, like, first dildo buying time is, like, 19 to 24.
I would say so, yeah, for sure.
And, like, around the time that, like, high school boyfriends are ending and college boyfriends begin. But, or girlfriends, or whatever.
Yeah. Whatever you want.
But it was just so funny because it's like, oh, okay, so it's for your friend, your roommate. Okay, so you probably don't want to hear them fucking themselves. Like, no, probably not. Okay, so you probably want the silencer. This thing starts at 0 and goes to 150. Doesn't even go to 100. Goes to 150 occasionally sometimes. We fire one up in the store and we'll just see who can hold it in their hand the longest.
Oh my god!
Before they're numb up to their elbow. And that, like, when you say something like that, their eyes just, like, you see their pupils dilate, like,
yeah.
Oh my god, yes.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Take my money.
And so it's like, and it's completely silent. And that,
completely? No.
Completely.
I don't believe that.
Oh my god, yes.
Because, like, I have one that's pretty silent.
Yeah, this thing, like, nothing. It
really?
was crazy. Even on, like, as long as you were holding on to it, as long as it was in a viscous medium.
As long as it wasn't, like, on the table.
Yes.
On the bedside table.
Yeah, because if you sat on the bedside table, it was like your lamp was gonna explode. And it was like this thing, like I've,
It just breaks the table.
Yeah, like, it was fucking wild how powerful this thing is. Like, I would compare it to, like, operating a fucking, like, imbalanced weed whacker.
Jesus Christ. And how big was it? Was it big? Like,
it was big. Like, it was, probably, like, fucking, like, 9 inches long and reasonably girthy.
And that's the first vibrator.
And it was plastic, so, like, just straight up plastic, so it was very easy to wash.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, just the simplicity and the raw power, and, like, it probably, like, yeah, like I said, it was just so powerful that I feel like, because, I mean, vibrator sensitivity is it's something you gotta think of when you get into
100%.
the fucking...
That said,
the vibrator
he's
game.
a good spokesperson for this. So, silencer vibrators, if you want to sponsor the podcast, I can just take what he said just now and use that as the ad.
Yeah. They just flew off the shelves.
Literally.
And like, that had part to do with the employee of the month thing. Because it,
you were just convinced, you just knew how to convince people.
Exactly.
To buy
it's
it.
like, you know what? People want to fuck themselves. Typically in more ways than one, but people just want to fuck themselves, whether physically or metaphorically or whatever, because we're all a little self-destructive in nature.
Yeah, of course. In silence. We want to do it in silence. Because the vibration takes away from it a bit.
It does. Like, that
does take away from it.
Yeah, that's not, like, no one wants to hear...
yeah.
Oh, God, I just clipped the shit out of that mic. But, it's like people just want to fuck themselves in privacy and silence and get deep into their own mind, gasm without the neighbors or their roommates knowing. And so, yeah, that was probably a part of why I got the employee of the month, because I was just making those fucking
silencer
vibrators just fly off the shelf. But the other was, I was really good at nailing shoplifters.
Okay.
Like, there was one that was just kind of, like, funny, because it was the... Are you looking up the silencer?
Totally am.
I hope they still make that thing, because, like... Oh, yeah!
Is this it?
That's the one! Yeah. Like, it's so simple. It's just, like, plastic... Fucking, like,
that's
gently
really
plastic, gently ribbed, like, nothing to it, and Jesus fucking Christ, is it powerful.
Love Honey.
Yeah.
Sponsorship. But, okay, so you were good at
look
catching...
Look them up. They're great.
I want to. I'd love to get like a sex store from Halifax, like sponsorship on this, because I talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah. So you were good at catching shoplifters.
Yeah.
From the sex store.
So I'll start off with the more tame of the two shoplifters, because one is a bit of an involved story. That hilariously enough, I was like invited out to go and tell it at a storyteller's sort of thing after just telling it drunk at a party once. And now
you're drunk in a podcast.
Yeah.
Woo!
But the first one was it was rather amusing because it was like, a couple comes in, they're just like wandering around the store. Just seeing what's up.
Just browsing.
Then they take off. And we're like, oh, okay, yeah, that happens all the time. People just wander in, browse a little bit, and take off, whatever. Until my coworker, she walks around she just does a little walk around the store. And like about 5 minutes after they leave, and then all of a sudden I just hear, what the fuck? Like, what's up? Those people shoplifted. Like, what do you mean? It's like they stole a really little butt plug and a set of vaginal beads. Which was funny because it's like I'll explain why the little butt plug is funny in a second. Or you'll realize why. But it's funny because those two things, for one, vaginal beads are shit.
I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, like they're like anal beads, but they're for vaginas, and these ones were like, they essentially stole the two cheapest items in the fucking store. Because, one was a fucking butt plug the size of my pinky finger.
Lame.
And like, yeah, toughen up. But maybe
it was his first butt plug.
Maybe. I have the feeling it was hers.
Oh.
And the vaginal beads were like, none of us would recommend these to customers. We just kind of had to keep them there. Yeah. But they were like anal beads, but they're for vaginas, and they were held together with sort of a string.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm picturing.
Yeah, but the weird thing was, it wasn't a rubber, it was a cloth string, which hygienically speaking is just like, no, don't fucking do that, because like you need to be able to wash all your shit thoroughly.
Yeah.
And so we're like, what the fucking fuck? Okay, well, I guess we have to call the cops.
Yeah.
So I hop on the phone, I call the cops. Like, hey, how's it going? Yeah, so we had some shoplifters at the sex store, and, yeah, they're, like, I just stepped out the door, and they're just casually strolling down Quimpool, and, description, yeah, so, like, I hate to say this, but this is the most identifiable couple you've ever seen, ever. One, about a 6'8", 350-pound black dude with the biggest afro I've ever seen, and his girlfriend is probably 4'11" and ginger.
Oh my god.
And they're like, okay, thank you for this. Like, I hang up. 2 minutes later,
do they come back in?
The phone rings. It's like, yeah, we found them.
They like didn't get far at all.
Yeah, it's like they're just like
down
still window shopping down Quimpool, and they get picked up.
That's fucking hilarious.
And they're like, yeah, we found. It's like, okay.
It's so bad. If you're gonna don't shoplift.
Yes.
But if you're gonna shoplift, like, get something better than that.
Yeah, like
from the sex shop, like, damn.
It was. I almost felt bad for them if it wasn't so fucking stupid.
Well, and especially because you said it was like the cheapest thing.
Yeah,
like really, you couldn't drop the money on that.
Yeah, like
if you really wanted it.
It was like I'm pretty sure it was like under $20 worth of shit. And unfortunately, as employees, we're obligated to call the police in an event of shoplifting, and it's like, wow, of all the things to get as your record, and not to mention, I gotta hand it to the police. The police
Did they crack up?
they kind of made our evening.
Yeah?
Because later on, a couple hours later, a police officer shows up and he's like just trying to stifle his laughter. It's like, so yeah, we recovered your 2 items. Here you go. Like, we can't take them back, but thank you. And everyone's just laughing their ass off at this point. He's like, so yeah, not gonna lie, we thought it'd be kind of funny if we didn't book them down in the basement area, but book them upstairs in the public area.
Oh my god.
And then just left their items out on display. So,
oh my god.
This couple was like sitting in the public area of the police station, like underneath a shelf of a like tiny little butt plug and shit little vaginal beads.
Ah!
And this was a fucking like summer afternoon that they did this.
God.
And here they are spending 3 hours at a police station with like a little tiny butt plug fucking just above them at the police station.
Are you proud of yourselves?
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure the police went light on them. They're just like, okay, this is because fuck, theft starts at 5,000 and goes down and then goes up, and there's no other divisions.
Right.
So it's like you could have stolen a 98 Honda Civic or a fucking $7 butt plug. And that will get you in the same amount of shit.
Oh my god.
And it was
holy shit.
like, I almost felt bad for them, but at the same time, it's just sometimes people do something so dumb. You're like, you know what? Just
learn your lesson.
You gotta learn. And if you have to learn that lesson when you're in your mid to upper 20s, then
that's when you're gonna learn it. That's when you're gonna learn it.
Yeah, and
I hope that couple's doing well.
I hope they are. And I hope it didn't dissuade them from
buying sex toys,
butt plugs, and
yeah,
like at the
hopefully
same time
they've purchased them.
Yeah, I can see why they bought the little tiny butt plug, because of probably the size difference between these two human beings. It's like, just the other day I heard a story about how a pit bull, like, a pit bull, what was it, pit bull fucking, like, pug combo came to be.
Oh, God.
And you're like, oh,
yeah.
Christ.
That's
and then
terrifying.
You look at certain couples and you're like,
how?
Are you guys okay?
Like, y'all right?
Yeah. And it's like, we're such a biologically diverse species.
Yes. It's so true.
Like, oh my fuck.
So that was the tame one.
That was the tame one. The other one is fucked.
Do you have time? Can you tell me?
Oh, yeah.
This is amazing. I love this.
So
a step up from the butt plug and the vaginal.
Step up from that. I was just, I keep in touch with another friend of our legendary mutual friends.
Oh, okay.
But it's so funny. You know those people that you're part of their life for a very small period of time, but sometimes you deflect them on such an important and life-changing decision. My coworker at that sex store, probably 3 years before, 3, 4, maybe 5, I don't even know. But like when I was in grade 11, he got me into recording arts he had a computer that he left at a friend's house. And just like, yeah, I got some recording programs on it. Why don't you, have fun? Me and 3 friends spent an entire summer like making an album just because we're musicians. Like, let's try to record an album. And so this friend of mine who I've just sort of had like friendly, jovial contact with over the years, but never kind of like solidly spent any real amount of time with. Incredible guy, like just one of those humans that warms your heart every time.
I love those.
Just like like I got in the habit. A friend of mine who I did an album with, older fellow, but he just calls everyone sweethearts if they're sweethearts.
Cute.
And I like just an absolute sweetheart. And it's funny because his decision to leave a computer that he couldn't take with him at a friend's house for a month started my entire career.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
But it's funny because just our mutual friends that are in Toronto now, they posted share Chris memory, blah blah blah. I'm so far away at Christmas, would love to hear some sort of memory you have of us. And with those particular ones, I just thought it'd be funny to write post removed due to violating Facebook's community standards, which is super appropriate for those two. But then it was this other friend of mine. I posted that because I've been away from all, the vast majority of people that I call family and friends and loved ones for a number of years now. And he posted just all caps, porn store. And that sort of just rehashed a bunch of these hilarious memories. The other which being my second shoplifting encounter.
Yes.
Which was...
Oh my god. The anticipation is like...
Yeah, I'm leaning forward for this one.
Forward.
Myself and a coworker were working one very busy, sunny July day. And there's something about the beginning of summer that just gets people fucking wound up to fuck. And so it was so weird, a Saturday afternoon at the sex store was fucking bumping.
Booming.
Like, if it was sunny and beautiful, you just had people coming in and out constantly. Any given time, there'd be 20 some odd people in the store. And so, this particularly busy day, this fellow comes in, pretty skeezy looking motherfucker.
Yeah.
And my coworker leans over to me and is like, Ed, can you keep an eye on this guy? He was kind of known for stealing our tip cup at Subway. It's like, okay. So, he's in the store for probably 10 minutes and I'm trying to keep an eye on him, but there's just so many customers coming through that lost track. But all of a sudden he just comes like marching up to me, pointing his finger, and it's a weird thing when someone like marches at you pointing a finger directly
really
at
weird.
you. Like, there's very few normal social circumstances where someone marches at you pointing. And so he just comes right at me and stops just short of me across the counter. It's like, you, sir, are responsible for the degradation of all these people's minds.
Oh, come on.
To which I respond, no, I'm not. And he responds, yes, you are. And I'm like, no, I'm not. And at that point, my coworker who's standing beside me, the other cash, was like, just get out, get the fuck out of here, go, just go. And she shoos him out the door. And he leaves. And everyone in the store was, kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
That's over.
Yeah.
Cool. So, at that moment, though, I kind of look across and I see a bunch of empty packages on the ground. And
God.
oh, for fuck's sake. So, I walk around the corner and fucking see this, big, giant glass dong and the African lover. A large, very large, 11 inches large, fake cock, cyber skin and everything.
Like a strap-on? Or like a...
No, it was like, I can't remember. I think that one had the plunger handle, so you could, like,
dear God!
stick it to a tile wall. But, like, this, like, it was fucking huge. Like, scary huge. Like, 11 inches of just, like...
pure magic.
Just, like... someone tripped and fell on this thing. They were going to the fucking ER.
Jesus.
But it's it's a weird situation to wrap your head around.
That is very
it's
bizarre.
Like, some kind of skeezy, like, homeless guy wearing a Canadian tuxedo has just stolen 2 massive fucking dildos. Like,
shit.
Like, the African lover is so large, you could fucking knock someone out with it. And it's dense rubber, and it's, like, Google it right now.
I'm Googling.
Because, like, it, like...
Oh, I wrote the African queen. Lover.
And then put dildo, because, like, like, you gotta be specific.
That's true.
Yeah, images, and,
Oh, shit, it is huge.
It's fucking monster. Wow, there's one in an asshole.
That's probably what it is right there.
Like,
that's veiny as shit, too.
Yeah, like, it's huge and massive and just, like, it's the size of my fucking forearm. And
Jesus Christ.
I mean, I appreciate the fact that people need something to work up to in life. But it's like sometimes...
At what point will you impale yourself? Like, at what point will it become, like, unsafe?
There's a lot of things in that store that made me sort of wonder. And I also have a lot of nurse friends.
Yeah, ooh.
And it really makes you wonder...
Why?
Like, I mean, I get the why. We all want to push ourselves to be bigger and stronger and faster and meaner, and maybe not meaner in the sense of, like, you're a dick.
Yeah.
But, when you get to a dildo the size of
your
arm, it's fucking wild.
Yeah, that's wild.
But, so yeah.
Mine's so fucking tiny. Like, I feel the need to up my game now.
Well, no, don't. Because you're just going to spend most of your life disappointed if you...
That's true.
If you're single and on Tinder, there's a reason a lot of those dudes are on Tinder and single.
There you go.
Yeah, and... because, I don't know, I feel like, call me crazy, but I feel like word of that thing passes around the community.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It does. No guys like to admit that that's a thing, but it does.
Girls talk.
Yeah, they do. And
listen, if we're being judged on everything about our bodies, we can judge you on your dick.
Exactly. And that's completely fair. Because, I mean, there's the list of standards of judgment between the two genders is horribly skewed.
Oh, 100%.
Yes, and it's just, and, that's why things like the African lover need to exist.
That's true.
Because, and, hopefully in the, fucking 14 years since I worked at a sex store, they've maybe upped the sensitivity of the names of these things.
Seriously, though.
I
haven't been in a sex store in a while, but I'd like to, look around and see.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. I kind of hope so. I feel
really.
Like it's interesting. I feel like the sex industry is arguably one of the more socially progressive industries because it kind of has to.
Yeah.
Porn is often regressive because the producers of porn are still often male, and they've become the ones that are still around are very firmly entrenched because they have a long history and the operating capital to keep going. But it's the new sort of generation of porn, the is it Etsy's, and not overly versed on this, so now now I'm opining atop Mount Stupid, knowledge of a topic versus
Yes.
a willingness to opine on a topic.
Yes.
But like Etsy's, they're fucking exploding in their popularity because they're just realistic, awesome, fucking great, respectable porn.
Ah, what's it called again?
Etsy's.
It's not like Etsy the store, like that, where you go buy.
No, or I could be mispronouncing that. Look it up for a second.
Is it
ETSIES, I think it is. And just put porn on the end because, you know.
That will help. You can buy porn on Etsy, apparently.
Weird.
According to this Google search.
Damn it.
I don't know.
Just go to YouPorn for a sec. Let's just cut
Okay,
to
the reason I won't go to YouPorn is because of the recommended for you suggestions that are going to pop up on the first page.
Oh, no, I won't judge. No, you know what? I realize how personal
that section.
The most personal.
What have I been watching lately? I watch a lot of like girlfriend lets the guy fuck the babysitter.
Okay, yeah, that's a great scenario. Okay. I'll either lean away.
Okay, here's what I'll do. I won't go to YouPorn. I'm gonna
But if it's reasonable, you should let me see your recommendations because I would almost say that like YouPorn suggestions are way less embarrassing than YouTube suggestions nowadays.
No fucking way.
Is it? Did you see it?
Yeah, I don't want you to see this.
Okay.
What am I looking up?
I think Etsy's. It's
Let me just see.
It's like.
Yeah.
You know what's really fun?
Is really a.
You know what's really funny? Just watching.
You know what's really funny is the fact that I'm doing this on the podcast right now.
Wait, Ertsy. Maybe try ERT.
ERT. Normally, if it's like something popular, like it would come up as I'm searching it.
Yeah.
You know, like. So maybe this could be something that we will correct in the intro.
Okay.
When we find out what the real pronunciation is. But really, what you're saying is that it's good porn.
It's good. It's just like they've like gone for the realism market, like real couples, real.
Well, because that's good. Amateur is where it's at.
Exactly.
Well, not always. The older I get, the more I appreciate produced stuff. Mm-hmm. But that's just because. I don't know why. I just do. Mm-hmm. It just looks better. I think I have a thing for like porn that looks good.
I just really well shot.
Yeah, well shot.
Well shot. That's no pun intended. But
going back to the guy who stole the dildos.
Sorry. So off base here. And,
I literally opened YouPorn on this podcast. This is amazing.
I'm
gonna go back to those videos that I saw there.
I'm a little sad you wouldn't show me your recommended.
I run such a gamut.
Wildly, you know what's so funny? A friend of mine, one of the most upstanding community leaders of like in the region. Probably like career in politics.
Okay.
One of the most inspiring human beings I think I've ever met in my entire life. I like opened up YouTube on his computer one time.
Oh no.
And his entire recommendation was World Star Hip Hop fight videos.
I thought you were gonna say that like you were typing in you and like his porn stuff.
No, like porn would have been fine. It's like, yeah, you're whatever. You're living your life. Everyone loves the fucking porn, no matter how fucked up it is. But no, it's like I just opened YouTube and like the full recommendations was World Star Hip Hop fight videos. Like,
hilarious,
dude. I mean, I don't judge people on their YouTube recommended because it's complete garbage, and mine would probably be pretty embarrassing too. But
really,
dude.
Did he have any
response? Besides the fact his face was turning kind of red, was like, "There's nothing more real."
Wow! Shit, that's so funny.
I can't argue with that. That's amazing. But yeah, so 2 fucking dildos are missing. Ned's on the case. And
it's on the case.
So, like, oh, for fuck's sake. Okay, well, this, fucking super sketch dude in a denim tuxedo has just stolen 2 massive dildos. What do I do about it? Well, okay, gotta go and... It's like, yo, you cool to watch the store? Yeah, I got it. Get him. And
You're reminding me of Lucas from Empire Records right now. And that scene, shoplifter! And then Lucas runs after him.
Exactly. Except I had 2 options. It was like I was either going to grab management, which was about a 14-inch long pipe wrench, or the can of bear spray.
Okay.
So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go for the distance weapon. So grab the bear spray, run out the door full speed, and the second I explode out the door, it's right there. And this has been he's been gone for 4 or 5 minutes. And it's, immediately you're like, gee, this is the worst fucking getaway ever, dude.
Is he a bigger guy? Is he much bigger than you at all?
He was shorter than me and about the same frame, not jacked or anything. And so, tear out the door expecting a big chase, and he's there, just standing with a shopping cart. Okay. Change of approach.
Yes. Gotta change it up.
Put the bear spray into my back pocket.
Yeah. Yeah.
Better make that a little subtle, because you're not technically allowed to use that on humans in Canada. Buddy, gonna need the dildos back. I don't know what you're talking about. It's like, oh, fucking Christ. So, it's 2 p.m. on a sunny Saturday afternoon on Quinpool in Halifax. Busy shopping day. Everyone's milling about. And at the same time, this was the point in my life where, it's kind of fun to make a huge scene.
Yes!
And it was pre-everyone has a cell phone camera days, so you just didn't mind making a huge scene because
you're not gonna end up on the
one's
internet.
going to put it on YouTube because it doesn't fucking exist.
Yeah.
So, of course, all right, buddy, give me back my dildos. So he starts arguing.
You said my.
Yeah. I personalized the issue because, for one, my is a lot easier than saying the full name of the store. Mm-hmm. But it's just kind of fun. Mm-hmm. And, maybe that's why I got Employee of the Month. But, so, this, yelling match ensues. Give me back what you stole. I didn't take nothing. I know you took those. We have you on camera. Give them back. And then finally, just, a moment of tranquility comes over him. And he reaches into his pocket and just passes me a plastic package. And no, this is a knife kit from Canadian Tire. Kitchen knives and shit. You didn't steal this one from me. I gotta give you this one back.
Oh my god.
But no, give me back the dildos. And so we argue again. And I didn't take them. I know you took them. Again, we have them on camera.
I love that you're yelling in an old man voice as well.
Yeah. Sorry, let me take a drink of whiskey.
It sounds like the same person yelling back and forth.
Yeah. Let me work on my radio play voice. No, that didn't work. So I'm screaming, give me back the dildos. And he's like, no, have them. Finally, another moment of tranquility comes. And he opens his denim jacket, and the glass dildo falls out.
Doesn't break.
Doesn't break. Thank you. I pick it up, hold it, because it's too big to fit in my pocket. And I'm all right, give me the African lover. I don't have, that's all I took. I was I know you have the African lover. I know it. You left the package for that one. And, so, another argument ensues. Like, there was a lot of arguing in the first 10 minutes of this interaction. And another moment of tranquility comes. But this time it was like he got it's just innocent looking and sort of like
sad.
crouched, like sad, like. But it was like conciliatory. I don't know if that's the proper term, but he sort of crouched down a little bit, and he reached into his jacket and passed me a bottle of yellow Listerine as a peace offering. And it's like, even with the sort of anger and annoyance of the situation, I was like, you know what? I see what he's trying to do.
Peace offering.
Peace offering.
Yeah.
I can't accept it because I hope to do greater things with my life. Thank you, sir. Thanked him. Like, I appreciate that. I can't accept it. I just need the African lover back and we can both go about our day. And at that point, he's like, I don't have nothing. And he gets pissed and he just takes off walking with him in his shopping cart and his Canadian Tire pack of kitchen knives. It's like, fucking hell.
Yeah, really.
So I'm like, damn it. I can't let you go without getting the African lover back. Give me back that dildo. And I don't have the dildo. And he's walking, and I'm walking beside. I'm like, I'm going to call the cops.
Yeah.
He's like, fuck you. I got nothing. And yelling match ensues. By this point, we're down by the McDonald's. And like, fine, I'm calling the cops. So I call the cops. They're like, hello, 911. I was like, yeah, I'm dealing with a shoplifter. He stole giant dildo from the sex store. And they're like, blah, blah, blah. Description, is he armed? I was like, well, technically he is, but it's in those really shitty plastic packages that no one can go to open. So, like, he does have a lot of knives.
But they're not like...
But they're
accessible.
still in that shitty plastic packaging, and unless he has other knives, then I think we're good.
Yeah.
So they're like, we understand if you're going to follow, but please stay a safe distance. I'm like, okay, that's cool. So we walk a couple blocks together, and I'm still yelling about the dildo, and he's still telling me to go fuck myself. And I'm like, well, I would, but I don't have a dildo that you stole. And finally we get to the corner of Oxford, and he takes a turn down in the residential areas of the town. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, for fuck's sake. Like, granted, this is kind of more entertaining than being in the store, but at the same time, it's like,
there's people around.
I got shit to do, and my coworker's probably swamped. Like, I feel bad.
Yeah.
And so, but that's when things took like a really weird turn, where I turned into I had to turn into an elementary school teacher, because he stops at one point, he yells at me a little bit, and then just leaves his shopping cart there and starts walking up a driveway. Like, hey, what are you doing? And he turns around and is like, I have to pee! I'm like, well, you can't pee in that person's backyard. And his response is, I have a colon! To which my response is like, that was a little left field. It's hard to formulate a response to something that left field at the moment. I was like, well, I'm not sure what that has to do with peeing, but come back here, right? Like, I kind of took on the
you were a teacher.
Scolding junior high teacher persona. It's like, you get back here right now, and you push your cart back to a bathroom on Quinpool. And no word of a lie, it kind of let out this sound. Like, he was really disappointed, but he understood that was the reasonable course of action if he had to pee. And so he walks back to the shopping cart, but he still continues into the residential area. So for a couple of houses, this continues. He keeps trying to walk into people's backyards to take a pee, and I'm like, no, you get back here right now. They're like, oh, I gotta pee. I'm like, all the bathrooms are back that way. Get back here right now. And so this went on for about 3 houses on the residential area until finally The police pull up beside us, and the first cop that hops out was just like, good afternoon, Roger. And so he hopped into their car to hopefully go and sort his shit out.
Hopefully go to the bathroom.
Yeah. Interesting thing, though. We never recovered that dildo.
That is...
I
wow.
know. Which makes you wonder, where did he put it?
Seriously, though.
Seriously.
And, like, I mean, you told them it was 2.
Yeah, we told them it was 2.
And the cops didn't follow up about it?
No, well, they did. They're like, we didn't find it on him.
Must have, like, threw it somewhere.
There's one of 2 options, really.
Oh, my God.
Which just... just
Let's
so adds to the mystery.
Let your mind wander there.
Because it was funny, like, I got back to the store, and my manager that was there, the other coworker had called her and was like, you should probably come in, there's some shit going down. And she came in, and afterwards me and her just started, like, walking around all the the areas that he was in. And, just wondering if, like, some poor bastard in a South End neighborhood is going to be like, oh my God, is that my 3-year-old kid playing with a dildo?
Someone got really lucky that day.
Yeah.
Someone, like, came out onto the sidewalk and was like, I found it.
Yeah, and it was...
That's hilarious.
The mystery was just never solved.
Epic.
But sometimes it's like with the Planck constant.
What's that?
So at 1, it's -43 power of a second is the point in time that we don't know how the laws of physics and the universe behave past that. And we probably never will.
And that's the African lover.
And that's sort of my own personal African lover to, the eminent physicists of the world. Because it's a mystery that will just, likely never be solved.
Oh my God, I hope we can solve... This was long ago, right?
Yeah. This was, God, it would have been 2003, I think?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So, no, sorry, 2005. So, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it was, and that was the last job I kind of had before, career starting, but it was, yeah.
That could give you some skills, though.
It does.
That job.
Like, I was really lucky to sort of wind up, while I was still here, getting, doing some... just getting involved with all of the sexiest people around here.
I was just going to say, you're part of that community. I'm so jealous. Because the coolest people are part of that community.
But
it seems like a lot of fun. But
it's so much fun. But it's like, I guess... honestly, some days I wish I was part of that physics community that was working on the Planck constant.
But then you think, I'm going to sex parties.
Yeah, but then it's like, at the same time, I'm like, I also, those are the type of people that work like 60 years on one theorem, and then half of the people that have worked that long on that one theorem, something comes along, it's like, you were wrong. Mm-hmm. And it's
That's true. It's like...
Could you imagine working 60 years of your life on something... just to be told in your dying days, no, you're wrong.
Yeah, that would be bad.
I'm much happier working in the weird, freaky arts.
Hey, yeah. How does one get involved in this community? That's my main question for you, because I think it goes into, who you know.
Yeah, so...
Big time.
It's definitely one of those, here, let me pull up on Facebook and be like, here you go. These people will get you into it.
But, do you need to be invited to these things? Or can you just show up as a normal person?
It's totally totally invite.
Which I totally understand that.
I mean,
It's for as someone looking in on it, it's fucking intimidating as shit.
it is.
I respect it so much. And, like, we have a mutual friend, I won't name names, but, like, she was essentially just like, well, just let me hook you up with some people. They'll bang you. And I'm just like, oh, but I'm so shy. Like, I don't know, me as someone who's never been to any type of party like that.
Yeah.
I have so many questions. Like, what's the etiquette? Like, how do you go? Like, what do you do? Because, like, I'm utterly fascinated, but it's so far removed from what I'm used to that, like, I would probably still be the awkward person in the corner eating the food.
Well, no, the cool thing is there's no food.
Oh, okay, good. Good, because I don't mix food with sexy times.
Yeah, because, you're the one comforting go-to we all have at a party doesn't exist. So.
So true.
But no, the cool thing is for one, they're the linchpin of the community, and our mutual friends are, like, just the greatest, most welcoming, lovely human beings ever. And just everyone, it's one of those things. It's like, for one, the number one step to creating a community like that is weeding out douchebags.
Of course.
And which is not the easiest thing in the world to do.
Can imagine.
But at the same time, there's very strict codes of conduct.
Yeah, which I respect so much.
And it's interesting because once you have sort of whittled people down to people that can respect a code of conduct for a club, then you can, like, not just because it's rules, but because it's people.
Yes.
And it creates such a nurturing and healthy environment.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's really unfortunate, but because of the prevalence of douchebags in society and the world, a lot of sort of rules get created. I guess, society moves along at the, pace of the slowest members of society. So the ones that are disrespectful, the ones that are, criminal and violent. And so the rest of us are kind of dragging along the dregs. That's kind of how we have to work. But at the same time, it's like when you eliminate... when you just start from a very base of eliminating the people that are disrespectful human beings, then you have already created an environment that is very safe and sex positive, and that is just having those people involved, whether it's like whatever the sort of gender division of such a particular event or party is, it just like immediately creates a
safe space.
A safe space, and it's like that is a term that kind of gets bandied around a bit too much these days. But in that scenario, it needs to be. It just needs to be a safe and respectful environment, because everyone is in their most vulnerable of states.
So true.
And when you have people that sort of are very protective of such a of such sort of vulnerable people in their most vulnerable states, and have gone through the due diligence of knowing who everyone is, then it really creates one of the most... that's like... I think that is so intrinsic to why I've, spent my life in the arts versus...
anything else.
It's
the most creative, open-minded people.
Yes, but
really
at the same time, when you're in that space, you are the most vulnerable... That like,
you've ever been.
Yeah, like arts and I feel like arts and sexuality are intrinsically linked in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And it's like a state of vulnerability where you create the world you want to live in so many different ways, whether it's arts or sexuality, that it sort of requires a certain type of person. And I mean, even nowadays, it's, it was very sort of like...
Do you think people are ashamed? That's because that was my next question. Like, if you're part of this community, do you think it's becoming less taboo to talk about?
Definitely in our society.
Which I think is pretty fucking bomb.
Yeah, and it's in our society, we're definitely, I'd say, as a culture, becoming, for the most part, more sex positive. At the same time, the word culture is... I don't know what it means anymore. Yeah,
very true.
And I don't know, it's just such an arbitrary word now.
It's true. Yeah.
But at the same time, I would say probably in the North American culture, in terms of the values that we've sort of espoused as what is ultimately important is individuality, sex positivity, and I guess that that's what we've sort of held up as one of our ideals. So yes, we also, I mean, let's be honest, we all sort of come from a weird Puritan religious Catholic religious background.
Yeah.
That is fighting that force, but I don't know, it's you kind of like hope and pray that people like Greg,
the Gregs of the world, goddamn Greg.
I know a lot of great Gregs.
We know
a lot of great Gregs, but specifically referring to fucking soft abs Tinder Greg of yours, that the Gregs of the world will realize that when they approach and personalize every sort of person around them, and refuse to objectify, refuse to demean or just dehumanize, it will ultimately sort of kind of empower everyone around them. And that's kind of the really beautiful part about a scene such as that.
Yes.
Is that it is immensely empowering, because even when you are in such a vulnerable state, you, for one, never feel unsafe.
Yeah.
And for people that you have to not depersonalize, but not take anything personally. Mm-hmm. You have to remove sort of the stigma of rejection.
Yeah, because that's huge.
None of us, all of us, are sort of
we're all terrified of it.
Bred for so many reasons to be terrified of rejection. The fact of the matter is, no one is everyone to everyone.
No one's gonna avoid it entirely.
Yeah, and
no one,
no matter how. It just goes to show. It's like there's I think statistically speaking, it's like, yeah, money does buy you happiness up to about $140,000 a year, but at the same time, I mean, it's like this was a particularly tragic year for the deaths by suicide of some of our most beloved artists of the world over, and even they feel the sting of rejection and defeat, and
there you go.
And not being able to fully accomplish that very pinnacle of what's that? The pyramid of needs.
Yes.
And it's it's really kind of it's sad that has been ingrained in us so much that it becomes a vicious mental illness for some people. But you kind of hope that by creating such positive and encouraging, but at the same time scenes that say, yes, you may be rejected, but don't let it, it's not, it's like with all things sort of, there's an incredible book called The Four Agreements, which is this book of Peruvian wisdom, and one of the chapters is just called Take Nothing Personally, or something along those lines. And along the lines of whenever you feel attacked, it's not about you, it's them.
100%. And that's something that it took me so long.
Yeah, and it's
to really grasp that.
It's very easy to externalize, and feel like the victim.
Yes.
But when you do that, you are simply, destroying the power that you have to be like, no, I'm a decent, reasonable, loving human being. I may not be the right person for this person.
Yes.
But I am still a decent person, and by getting past that, not taking things personally, getting past rejection, that's what we sort of need to strive for, and that's what sex positive environments such as that sort of really, really kind of help along and cement in people's minds, because the people that are in those scenarios are very confident.
Yeah, that's so true.
It's just it's the same goes for when you're creating art with people.
Yeah.
You're in a very vulnerable state because our ideas are sacred to us.
100%.
Things that we want to express, things that we want to get across. And so it is very, very, very profound in numerous different ways experience to throw out an idea first and throw out something you've wanted to get across or something that's very important to you, and one of two things happens. It's either accepted or people are like, no, it's not, and it's rejected. And one of the things you have to get past is, well,
will you still do it if
I can't take this personally. It's just an idea. I'm a flawed human being, and I've created this idea. Maybe the idea is flawed, or maybe this is just not the right environment for it to exist.
To grow, yeah.
And grow. And, it's there's this, great Brian Eno line in a Danielle Lanois documentary about creativity, where he's saying the most promising, sometimes the most promising seed, the healthiest, the largest seed off a tree will land, but it lands in a completely unforgiving environment and it just can't grow. But sometimes the tiniest seed that didn't have a chance just lands in the most perfect, rich environment, and it's able to grow into what it could be.
That's so true.
And it's I feel like sexuality and creativity are so intertwined in
so
that,
much so.
In that I don't know, I guess
I've never met someone who was creative that wasn't down to talk about stuff like this. Like you're so right when you say that it is intertwined. Like creative people are normally very sexual people.
Yeah.
I
think there's a reason for that, because it's it's all sort of states of putting yourself in these very vulnerable states.
Yeah.
I mean, that means something different for everyone, but it doesn't make it any less beautiful.
Oh, that's so true. I never thought a podcast that went from stories about stealing dildos to would be so profound and deep. Holy shit.
Well, on that note, I have to pee.
Don't do it on my floor. Yeah. Holy shit. Yeah. Oh man, this has been fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
I suppose we shall wrap it up with Ed. Oh. I'd love to have you back on though. Yeah. I got questions about poly. I got tons of questions for you. We'll do a Skype one sometime, maybe.
Yeah, we would, but that's too impersonal.
Well, not now that we've hung out. Now that we've hung out, it's good.
Okay. You'll just have to edit out that 400 millisecond delay that makes it really awkward when you're always talking on top of someone.
It makes the editing harder, but if a great guest is far away, I will make it fucking work.
And don't worry, I can ramble like a motherfucker.
And don't worry, if we do it via Skype, I can have you porn open the whole time and you wouldn't see shit.
True. So, can I see your recommendations?
No! Not happening, bud. Yeah. Damn. Well, thanks so fucking much for coming on. This has been fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
Great stories and great knowledge and shit. Got deep here. It's the whiskey. The whiskey makes it, I feel like... The whiskey brings out deepness. I don't know what it is.
There's a reason why. I was going to say something, but I've been drinking a lot.
All of that said, I guess we're going to wrap it up, guys. But hopefully Ed will be back with more stories and I can pick his brain some more because guess what? A couple hours is not enough.
Thanks.
There you go. Thanks so much for coming on and say goodbye to the invisible audience that we hope is listening. So long. Farewell. And ring that bell. Ooh, that rhymed. Ring that bell. Farewell.